We're on location today in downtown Cleveland for our 2021 summer issue of Jstyle magazine at the Lumen apartment complex in the Playhouse Square neighborhood. This issue is our first back after a hiatus from the pandemic. We knew we wanted to do something special to honor local Jewish community members who have worked on the front lines during the COVID pandemic. So when we made our call out for models for the photo shoot, we asked readers to nominate their friends and family members who worked in those positions this past year. We had a ton of nominations, and we really tried to choose a unique group of models, people of all ages who served in a variety of ways this past year. A lot of us had the luxury of working from home in a relatively safe environment this past year, but these community members really put their lives at risk and faced very scary scenarios to help others. So we really were excited to share their stories. Our 10 models today are Randy and Margot, Shudina, Brian, Stacy, Judy, Moises, Allison, and Joshua and Steven. We chose to go downtown and to the Lumen for this issue because I think with a lot of us being vaccinated and able to really explore the city, restaurants, and nightlife for the first time in over a year, it felt like it was the perfect time to focus on the center of the city and the excitement that is kind of newly surrounding it. We wanted to both reflect on the stories of the past year from the community members who had such real and personal experiences, and give our readers something to look forward to this summer.
So I work as a nursing assistant at Ahuja Medical Center, and I've had a different experience working the COVID-19 pandemic as a frontline worker, just because I started working at Ahuja as an intern, and I wasn't allowed to go into the patient room, the COVID patient rooms for school policy. But as I got a job as a nursing assistant in August, I started to see a few patients from the designated COVID floor come up to my floor, and I was assigned a few rooms with COVID patients. And as the months started heading towards winter, that's when I saw a downfall in the PPE. There was a shortage. So if you were going from one COVID patient room to another, we would have to stay in our PPE, so our gown, our N95 masks, our gloves, our face shields, and the nursing staff helped the aides go from room to room so we wouldn't contaminate anything. And it's just been really nice to see the decrease of number in COVID patients on the floor as the months started going towards the summer and spring. And also just seeing these patients go home and they defeated COVID and they went home to their families.
I'm what's called a perfusionist, and I run the heart-lung machine during heart surgery. I work at the Cleveland Clinic main campus, and I've been there for over 31 years now. Last year was crazy, as we all know. I would go into work not knowing what I would find there, what I'd be exposed to, what I'd bring home to my family, and that always made me really nervous. We all learned a lot, dug deeper. We helped each other out at work. We learned about donning and doffing equipment. We used our skills. Every year we get trained to wear N95 masks. And we're like, okay, we're going through training again. And all of a sudden, thank God we had that training every year, year after year. And I try to be like the liaison to my family and friends to help them get over their nervousness for wearing masks and trying to ease them into it, because it's for society, it's hard. It was really hard for them to embrace wearing masks. And for me, I've been doing it for years. And one of my friends said, you've been training for this since college on wearing masks. So I was trying to ease people, even strangers who just were afraid. And I would say, just smile. Everybody can see your eyes. So look into people's eyes and smile. And this way, we know you're okay.
Over the past year, I was finishing up my last year of medical school in Chicago at Rush University Medical Center and trying to navigate re-entering the clinical environment after our clinical rotations were suspended during the early stages of the pandemic, while also trying to mitigate the difficulties of virtual interviews for general surgery applications. So trying to balance those two throughout the course of the end of 2020 and the beginning of 2021 was certainly difficult and a challenge for my colleagues and I. So we were suspended from clinical rotations during the month of March in 2020 during the tail end of our third year of medical school. And so after we were suspended, we actually had to be out of the hospital for 2.5 months, which was peculiar because usually your last 2 years of medical school, you're working with patients, you're spending time with inpatient and outpatient teams to be able to grow your clinical experience and to improve your exposure before beginning residency. I'm personally most excited about just being able to get outside. The Mentor Headlands is a favorite beach of mine. It's beautiful in the summer. Being able to go downtown to the flats to get drinks and to just get some nice fresh air at Cleveland Indians games.
I'm a cardiac anesthesiologist and a critical care physician downtown at the main campus of the Cleveland Clinic, and I work specifically in the Heart and Vascular Institute. Over the past year, the difficulty has been for us is we kind of run a bit of a lag from people in New York getting hit with the virus and the full strength of the pandemic initially, and we were trying to ramp up, and we didn't really know what to expect. So we were trying to coordinate teams and make sure we had enough caregivers because we expected the worst. We figured we'd prepare for the worst and hope for the best. And so over the course of the time, we've been doing a lot of running by the seat of our pants, if you will, trying to figure out how the virus spreads, best way to treat it, and trying to stay up on top of the science. In this time, we've been in the intensive care unit seeing how patients are responding differently. And we've also learned how to keep people alive in the worst of the pneumonia setting with COVID, which hits the respiratory tract most significantly. And so I've been involved with putting people on mechanical ventilation, respirators, and putting them on something we've learned, which has been very beneficial, called extracorporeal membrane oxygenation, which is essentially a heart-lung machine, which keeps people alive while their bodies try to recover. I'm looking forward to being outside, being able to explore Cleveland once again, restaurants, East 4th Street. I'm really looking forward to getting back to seeing the Indians and cheering them on.
As part of the Shaker Heights CERT team, which is the Community Emergency Response Team, we were the first to giving vaccinations to the first responders, mostly the fire department, and they were from all over Cuyahoga County. And then when it opened up, we did it through the Shaker Heights Fire Station. It was a drive-through. And then I also helped at the Beechwood Fire Department and at the Word Church in Warrensville Heights. Another thing we did was we had something like 12,000 masks that we had in our CERT inventory from the SARS epidemic. And it turns out that there were N95 masks, and the elastic that holds the mask to the head had rotted. So all that elastic had to be removed, and we had to get new elastic and then staple it on. And then those were distributed to first responders all over the county. I am especially looking forward to a family reunion at the end of August, which we were going to have last year and of course got postponed. So, and in the meantime, I had my first great-grandchild, so I'm very anxious to see him.